Today's episode is being brought to you by Goya Foods. If it's Goya, it has to be good.
The Bitcoin blockchain has never been hacked. The difficulty for solving someone's private key is a mathematical expression, but it is the same difficulty as finding one single atom in our entire universe.
Sachs in the Morning. Sports, money, life. Steve Sachs.
Hi, Steve Sachs here with Sachs in the Morning, and today we're going to talk about something that we're very, very high on here at our podcast when we talk about the byline of Sachs in the Morning with sports, money, and life. And blockchain and cryptocurrency is something that we're big advocates from, and today we get to talk to one of the big shots. I mean, this guy is huge, and Sarson Funds is the company that I feel, and I must say that I'm an investor in Sarson Funds as well. They are really the standard bearer for cryptocurrency as far as I'm concerned here in the U.S. And at Sarson Funds, we're going to talk to the CEO and co-founder, John Sarson, and he's amazing. John, great to be here today, and thanks for coming on again here at Sachs in the Morning.
Thank you, Steve. It's so great to be here and to be associated with your program. I hear that we're at a milestone today in this episode.
Right. That's right. We're number 200 today, and I've had some people texting and tweeting out about Sachs in the Morning. It seems like it's gone so fast already. I mean, we feel like we're just getting ramped up, and we've got so many things to talk about, and here we are at 200 already. And so I think that's a pretty good sign for us. So thank you for being here today on the landmark day for us, John. Appreciate it.
Well, I love that. Well, we're talking about money 2.0, and so episode 200 is
perfect.
Fitting,
all right, John, I'll tell you, there's so many people out there that are so interested in cryptocurrency. They say, you know what? I know that this is a thing. It's been through the rigors of the hamburger machine and all the political stuff, and it's worldwide now. We understand that, and I'm not sure exactly. But John, give us the overarching view on cryptocurrency and how it basically works, and then we'll go deeper from there.
Sure. Delighted to. All of us, we've had an intermediary in between us and our money for so long that it feels normal to us. But what's much more normal is to transact with each other directly. I have money, I give you money, now you have money. But in the age of digital commerce, the banking complex had to get involved in that process. First one was writing a check to make sure that the check represented that there was enough money in that account to transfer to another account. To store money, banks needed to be used. But with the invention of blockchain technology, that all changed. Now, the technology itself can serve as the bank, both safeguarding and verifying financial transactions between two unknowing and untrusting individuals. So basically, it solves the trust deficit with technology, which is fabulous. And this is what humanity is so good at doing. Technology replaces what used to be manual processes with something that's better, faster, and cheaper. And the first killer application for blockchain technology was, in fact, a digital currency. And it's the one that we all know and love, called Bitcoin.
Good. I mean, that's the thing. People say, well, is Bitcoin, how many other coins are there besides the Bitcoin? And I guess your answer to that is there's an awful lot, thousands, isn't there?
Sure. Yep. And what makes Bitcoin so valuable is the fact that in 180 countries around the world, you can turn your fiat currency into Bitcoin and Bitcoin into your fiat currency. So therefore, it becomes very useful. You can your fiat currency might not send as easy as sending an email from one person in one country to another person in another country, but Bitcoin does. So now when you want to move money from one country to another, you can use the Bitcoin rails, as we call them. And then when the money arrives in Bitcoin at its final destination, that person can cash it out into their local fiat currency easily. Or more, what's happening increasingly these days is they can leave it in its digital form as Bitcoin, as either an investment or for future use in a digital application.
John, I've heard the stories about the safety of Bitcoin because some people ask about that, and the blockchain and how that's developed and the safety aspect of it. That's got to add a lot of security to people that are getting involved in cryptocurrency. Isn't that true?
It is 100% true. It is the most secure payment layer ever invented.
Wow.
The Bitcoin blockchain has never been hacked. The difficulty for solving someone's private key is a mathematical expression, but it is the same difficulty as finding one single atom in our entire universe. That's how difficult it would be to, through brute force, crack someone's private key.
Wow.
Now, unfortunately, that gives incredible security to assets, whether or not you remember your private key or not. So therefore, there has been lots of instances where individuals have lost their private key, which is just a fancy word for a password. And then once they've lost their password to access their Bitcoin, there's nothing that anyone can do to help them. Not the FBI, not a bank, no one. Because it would be essentially hacking the Bitcoin blockchain, which no one has ever successfully done.
Wow. Yeah. That's so don't forget that by all means. And a lot of people, what they do is they get that password and they just put that right in their safe, right? So they got to hold on to that thing because that's the access point to all their money. You know, I heard, John, about this one situation where there was a guy that for some reason was on the Serengeti down in Africa, needed to do business, no banks anywhere, but he was still able to use his Bitcoin and transact his business in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, well, that's right. As long as you know that password, you have access to all that money.
Yeah.
And of course, it causes a problem for people entering, a country, and they say, well, how much money are you carrying with you? Well, if you're carrying your password to your Bitcoin, you're carrying all of your Bitcoin in your head with you.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's an amazing thing. Where do you see this going right now? It seems like if you can give us kind of a little outlook, because right now it seems that Bitcoin and crypto and everything, just like other assets all over the world, are kind of finding, maybe it's a bottom, whatever, but it seems to be consolidating pretty well right now. And I'll tell you what, as I said, full disclosure, I'm an investor with Sarson Funds, and I have a long-term horizon, John, and I see this thing being just tremendous when you consider the person-to-person exchange that you can do and the advantages of cryptocurrency. I think we're going to see a huge run-up in crypto, and that's just my personal opinion.
Well, without making too much of a forward-looking statement about the price of Bitcoin, I will make a forward-looking statement about the adoption of Bitcoin because it is catching on like wildfire all around the world. And it's catching on for a number of reasons. I already mentioned that it's better, faster, cheaper commerce. So as a business owner, that makes sense. As someone remitting money to a family member in a different country, the days of Western Union and other money remittance services taking 15% haircuts off of those transmitted amounts, those days are gladly looking to be numbered. If you don't have access to banking easily, because let's say you're very poor, like one of 2 billion people in the world that have no access to banking, doesn't seem like you need a bank, right? If you're poor, why do you need a bank? Well, as our economy increasingly becomes digital and is online, if you don't have the ability to do online commerce and transactions because you don't have any digital money, because you don't have a bank, your ability to raise yourself out of poverty through your own ingenuity and hard work is greatly diminished. And the Gates Foundation actually kind of went forward with that thesis a couple of years ago, saying that digital currencies can bring banking to the unbanked. There's 2 billion people that are unbanked, but 1 billion of those 2 billion have a smartphone, and that's all you need to be banked by Bitcoin. And so they're trying to spread cryptocurrency adoption throughout Africa to basically create economic opportunity for disenfranchised populations. And that's something that Bitcoin does exceptionally well, along with other cryptocurrencies. They're really about leveling the playing field, democratizing access, and increasing financial opportunity to people that use them. And the losers in this, Steve, are the big banks, the people that used to be our trusted third-party intermediaries.
Absolutely.
The buildings with the names on the tops of them in cities all around the world, like those companies have a lot to lose when it comes to handing the power to control money back to the people whose money was in the first place.
Yeah, well, when you talk about that, I mean, look, I was just down in Los Angeles for the All-Star game, and I'm walking down, and the basketball arena there is named after crypto. Okay, you see baseball today. You see the umpires. They have FTX or whatever, which one is on their shirts. They're advertising crypto. It seems to me that before long, crypto is going to be in all the investment banks because they're not going to be able to deny it. I mean, it's just getting so big. I can see it just throughout pension funds and whatever, that this thing is just going to continue to trudge along and just gain market share.
You're 100% right about that. And we watch what Wall Street does closely at my firm, Sarson Funds. We come from Wall Street. We still have great connections with Wall Street. Mm-hmm. And 2 years ago, Wall Street wanted nothing to do with crypto.
Right.
Today, all of the major investment banks,
they can't deny it,
have 30-person digital asset investment banking teams. And this is the next growth industry. They're working to defend their market share as blockchain-based solutions take market share away from traditional financial applications. And America, just like we dominate capital markets around the world, looks to be poised to dominate digital asset capital markets as well. And there's some real exciting thought leadership coming out of firms like BlackRock that's recently announced a partnership with Coinbase, Goldman Sachs, who was an early investor in Circle, which is becoming crypto's default stablecoin of choice, and other industry leaders like Bank of America and Citigroup that are doing consistent, intentional movements towards cryptocurrency and digital assets.
Let's take a brief break for our sponsor. Thanks to Goya for their support of today's episode. It's no wonder Goya's commitment to excellence is the cornerstone of the company credo. If it's Goya, it has to be good. This simple yet deeply resonant pledge is the evolution of Goya Foods as a leader in the Latin American food industry and a trusted American brand. Al Hendrickson Toyota, it's always worth the drive. When you make the drive to Al Hendrickson Toyota, you're getting an experience that will make you want to return again and again. Visit in person in South Florida or visit online to see the inventory of new, pre-owned, and certified pre-owned vehicles, proving Al's got it all at every step of the car buying process. Wherever you may be shopping from, Al's got value, Al's got selection, Al's got deals, Al's got service, Al's got the right team. It's always worth the drive to Al Hendrickson Toyota. Al Hendrickson Toyota is the #1 volume Toyota dealer in the Southeast region. Online at alhendricksontoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And now, back to our conversation. You know, John, I wanted to ask you about the education program that you guys have at Sarson Funds. I know on the application on the website, after you hit the education tab, you have the American Crypto Academy, which is really exciting because this will have it right at people's fingertips. The questions that they can get, you guys have the answers there. And as I said, you guys are the leader in the industry. So tell us a little bit about this launching of the American Crypto Academy.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, that I would be delighted to. It's a real passion of mine and everyone at Sarson Funds to spread the good news of crypto, but do it in a thoughtful way. You know, there's a lot of content that's been produced by a lot of people with a lot of different agendas. And so just going on YouTube and starting to watch videos as someone that's new to the cryptocurrency market, it's not entirely clear if what you're hearing is a true statement or if you're being sold to. And that's the reality of where we are today in 2022. What we've set out to create with the American Crypto Academy is a repository of unbiased foundational crypto education, in addition to premium crypto content that can be accessed by individuals and professional investors that want to get their knowledge base level set on this opportunity that is digital currencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other projects that really are set to shape the world, we believe. But a foundation in unbiased education is what the American Crypto Academy is all about.
Great. And then people can get in there, they can understand more, and then they can make their own decisions on how they feel about it. John, can you give us an idea of when you talk about market share, which I think is, the biggest driver of everything, of course, because more people using it, the more it's going to grow. Where are we at right now as far as market share goes in the United States or, throughout the world?
Sure. So there's a couple of ways we can look at this. We like to talk about financial advisors because we sell investment products. My firm, we have 9 targeted hedge funds that target a different slice of the cryptocurrency market, such as small caps, large caps, metaverse, ESG names, mining names, et cetera. Financial advisors have the lowest penetration really of any group in America. Wow. And that's because many of them are unable to buy non-conforming investment products. Bitcoin is not a security. It didn't have an IPO. It doesn't file a Form 10K. And because of this, the SEC has a really hard time handling it. And when the SEC has a hard time handling something, that means the brokers at Merrill and Morgan and UBS aren't going to be allowed to buy it. So there's very low penetration at traditional full service financial firms. Independent financial firms, a little bit better, maybe 5% penetration. In the overall American public, 15% of respondents to the last survey I saw indicate that they've purchased some type of cryptocurrency. So that, that's up from where it was just 7% 2 years ago.
Yep.
But it's still quite a bit lower than the 40+% of households that own stocks. And now, unlike owning stocks, you don't need to be wealthy to own cryptocurrency. And in fact, it disproportionately benefits people that aren't wealthy in many instances. So we shouldn't expect that the final resting place for adoption of using cryptocurrencies will stop anywhere near the final resting place of owning equities. Instead, we should expect it to be like a foundational technology, like what percentage of households have a computer or have a cell phone. And if you look at the technology adoption from that regard and compare it to the internet, where the penetration on the internet's approaching 100% in the United States, when the internet had 100 million users worldwide, it was growing at 68% year over year.
Wow.
Cryptocurrency last year was also at about 100 million users. So apples to apples comparison, only cryptocurrencies growth rates are at 112% year over year. So if it feels to you, Steve, like this technology is being adopted quickly, it is. It is the fastest a new technology has ever been adopted around the world. And it's the fastest by almost double how quickly the internet caught on. 112% annualized versus 68% annualized for the internet. So this technology is catching on like crazy because it leaves value in transactions for consumers, and consumers like that.
I love it. Let me tell you what I love about it. This is what I love about it. I love that you have autonomy, that the government can't, I mean, they're going to tax it, but they can't control it. Because really, when you talk about cryptocurrency, this is a world currency. It's not a U.S. currency. This is a world currency. And I love the fact that you have autonomy with cryptocurrency, that really nobody can tell you what to do with it. I mean, they can't come and manipulate this. This is something that is outside of the government. And I love that, because less government intrusion, the better.
Well, 100%. And we talk about that in the last chapter of my co-founder's book, Deep Crypto. We talk about the fact that the ability to do a financial transaction essentially is free speech. And without the ability to do a transaction, there is no such thing as free speech. And when the government controls the money, they can silence critics. And that is very dystopian. And I think it's on par with what Elon Musk was talking about when he tried to buy Twitter. His plan was to buy Twitter and decentralize it so that no one would control it. I don't know if that deal will get done or not, but I certainly hope it does get done one day.
Same here.
Bitcoin takes power away from governments. And if you are a small government person, then you're going to like Bitcoin. If you're a libertarian, you're going to really like Bitcoin. When the government's functioning the best, it's having to do the least. And we have just made it so it's no longer necessary for the government to control the money supply. We've got this.
Yeah, I just absolutely love that. That's what I'm about too, John. Less government, the better. And
let's not forget the government has done a really crummy job controlling the money supply.
Oh boy.
The purchasing power of the dollar has fallen 98% in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
About 98%. Like if it was a private company running the money supply, they would have been replaced. And so the people's money in Bitcoin is an alternative to the current system, which badly is in need of an alternative.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. John, I wanted to ask you also about the exchanges like Coinbase and all the other ones. How do those fit into the whole scenario here? I mean, I have a little Coinbase account that I use that I kind of trade on my own. Of course, my main money is with you guys at Sarson Fund, because you guys are the experts, and I don't want to diagnose my own medical problems or, represent myself in court. And, I was a financial advisor for 10 years, but I'm not now, and I'm not a crypto expert at it. That's why I hire you guys to do that. So what about these other little exchanges? Where do you see these fitting into the whole scenario?
So it's a great question. And I have a Coinbase account also. Coinbase, it's the most popular cryptocurrency exchange in America, 30 million customers, partially owned by Goldman Sachs and BlackRock. Very, very safe. They're not going to lose or steal your money. If you forget your password, they got you.
Yeah.
So For a novice user, it's a good choice. And then you get a Coinbase app on your phone and you can pay the babysitter in Bitcoin. You can buy something at a yard sale in Bitcoin, and you can make investments. And I recommend everyone should consider opening up a Coinbase account. It's a great platform.
Yeah.
However, it's kind of akin to having like an E-Trade account. And like you might have an E-Trade account because you want to put some money into some stocks that you believe in personally. And that's something that I think everyone should do to understand how stocks are traded. Yeah. But if you wanted to make an investment for your retirement into a professionally managed basket of stocks, I would not recommend doing that on E-Trade yourself unless you're a professional investor. And on the same idea, that's where we find our clients that see the changing paradigm, want to participate in this for financial gain for over multiple years as they understand this is a volatile asset class, and they want to hire a professional active manager that can make sure that they don't necessarily just get the growth of Bitcoin, but they get the growth of digital assets.
Yes.
Because digital assets, we know for sure, are going to become a really big deal in the not too distant future, but no one knows for sure what's going to happen to any one digital asset.
Correct.
So it's really important to have, we believe, an active manager that's watching every day and trying to identify emerging trends and capitalize on those as they're occurring.
Well, I encourage, our listeners to go on to the website and get an idea of some of the portfolios that you guys have. And, they're interchanging and you're omitting some and putting some in and doing those changes. But you guys are experts at doing that. And it's incredible to see that, you talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and all those. But boy, there's those ones that right now are diamonds in the rough that might be $1.42. And we don't know which ones those are, but you guys do, and that's why people hire you.
There's a lot of disruptors. There's a lot of industries that are going to be disrupted by blockchain technology. The last 20 years of technology companies were all about accruing value by connecting a want and a need. So like Uber, this technology company that connects a driver with a rider. In the future, blockchains are going to connect that rider and the driver together directly.
Right.
And the blockchain itself will be the trust mechanism. And that's going to leave value in the transaction for both parties. So there's category killers coming up in every imaginable category that are going to be blockchain-based solutions that are going to let us do things better, faster, and cheaper. And there's going to be tokens associated with many of them. And they're going to be exciting to own as people realize that they want to own Uber coin rather than use the Uber app.
Yeah.
And there is no Uber coin that I know of.
Right.
That's just a hypothetical example.
Maybe we're hearing about something coming, but who knows? But that's why I let you guys do that, John, because you guys know exactly how to do that. And most people, even though they were in the financial industry for a while, they don't. You guys are the experts at that. So that's great.
Well,
John,
we love it. We have 9 people on our investment team. We all do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't feel like work when you do what you love.
Yeah, that's amazing. John, in winding down, I wanted to ask you personally, here you sit on the CEO of this great company on the frontier of something that is going to be an unbelievably large explosion, I think. I mean, we've seen great things in Bitcoin now, but just wait. The best is ahead of us. If you had to guess, where do you think we are right now in the whole scenario? If this was a baseball game, we'll use that analogy. Are we in the 4th inning for crypto? Are we in the 1st inning? Are we in the 7th inning? Where would you say we are right now in the whole game?
I think it's a 20-year process getting blockchain technology fully integrated into our society. And I think that we are about 4 years into that 20-year process.
Wow.
So that puts us about the
second inning,
second inning, third inning.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think so. The whole internet's going to become decentralized and start to be run on a peer-to-peer basis. And that's going to really change things for the better around the world. I mean, the Ethereum Project, which is the 2nd largest cryptocurrency, was founded with the mission of decentralizing the internet. And they are well on their way. There are now 300,000 distributed applications built on top of Ethereum. And that's 300,000 small businesses that have decided that they're not dependent on Microsoft or on Verizon. Instead, they're building on Ethereum. And, Ethereum brings lots of benefits. It's an immutable public ledger. It's going to make lots and lots of different things possible in the metaverse. It's going to empower Web3 identities. It's going to empower safe storage of your medical and financial records. How about, you have your medical records, and if someone needs to see them, you share them with the doctor, share them with this doctor, and then when they're done looking at them, you take them back. They don't have your data anymore to lose. And this is all empowered on smart contracts on top of Ethereum, which is basically an operating system for the decentralized internet of the future.
And people are asking sometimes, how are these coins worth? How do they get their worth? Well, John just spelled it out right there. That is amazing information. I mean, I could talk to John for 3 hours about it. This is just incredible stuff. John, I want to ask you, I was getting into it and then I got off another way, but I wanted to ask you, I mean, again, here you are, this incredible company with the explosion in front of us. How many times did you have to pick yourself up? Because our podcast is about, being successful and not giving up. And I'm sure there's been some of that in your life too, as you sit here today.
Right. Absolutely, Steve. Crypto is notorious at this point for its volatility. And we have had 4 corrections in the price of Bitcoin of around 85% in its brief 11-year history. And an 85% correction is brutal by anyone's standards. There are many people that bought Bitcoin a year ago at 68,000 and are looking at Bitcoin at 20,000, thinking that they made the dumbest financial move of their lives. So I think that it's important to not let the market and asset prices, which we all know markets behave irrationally, really be a guidepost for the rational decisions that we're making and that we're noticing. We said when I used to work on Wall Street that in the short term, the market's a voting machine, but in the long term, the market's a weighing machine. And the value that this technology is bringing to the world is immense, and it will be weighed very heavily over a full market cycle. So I think that we have to just focus on the realities of the adoption and the value propositions, and that we just have to kind of hold our nose sometimes when the price wants to become divorced from reality for a period like I believe it is today.
That's amazing information. And John, lastly, I want to just kind of finish it with this is what's been your personal motivation throughout all the things that you've done in your life? What's been that one motivating factor, the couple motivating factors that just drives you so much?
So I'm a libertarian at heart. So I like the idea of government not doing a lot. I was raised in Massachusetts, and I saw what happens when governments get too big. It becomes a tax on everyone's life to try to support this inefficient machine at allocating capital. And I loved the fact that cryptocurrencies gave power back to the people and took power away from governments. And I think that the time was right for that. And so it was very exciting, especially coming from Wall Street, where I worked for 15 years. And I saw just exactly how much fees were packaged and recharged and put into financial products. Did you know, Steve, if I had 1 second to share with you a stat?
Absolutely. Take all the time you want.
Hopefully make all of your viewers irate like it did when I heard it. The financial services right now represent 7% of our economy. And this is not investment banking, and this is not retail banking, commercial banking. It's financial services. It's the building and selling of instruments designed to help people retire or to meet other financial goals. 30 years ago, there's also the need for saving for retirement, but financial services represented only 3.5% of our economy. So in the last 30 years, Wall Street decided that their services are worth twice as much as they used to be charged a generation ago. In the words of one of my idols, Jeremy Grantham, who runs a large investment advisory firm called GMO, he says about Wall Street, never before have so many people been paid so much for adding so little. And I think that just about sums it up. And so I was really happy to see this come across and kind of take some of that power and give it back to the people whose money it was in the first place.
Wow. Well, you're echoing the sentiments of everybody in this studio. That's for darn sure. So, John, I can't thank you enough for being on today and spending some time with us and educating us, and which is what there's such a thirst out there for it, and people know it. And so I encourage everybody to go to the website, hit the education tab, and go into the American Crypto Academy and get informed with Sarson Funds, because that's the place to go. So, John, thank you so much for being on today. Really do appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure, Steve. I'll be back anytime you'll have me. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Thank you. John Sarson. If you like what you heard today, please give us a positive review, subscribe, and share the program. Also, be sure to listen to my Sacks in the Morning shorts 3 days a week for a couple of minutes of uplifting suggestions to get your day off to a great start. Our music is performed by my adorable niece, Elena Jane. And remember, to reach your goals and your dreams, follow your emotional heart. Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers. Good Greek Moving and Storage exists to provide you an extraordinary moving experience, period. They make the ethos of their every step from the moment of your first phone call all the way to the placement of your last end table in your new home. A stress-free, positive experience. Offering concierge services to answer all your questions, you can trust Good Greek Moving and Storage and Spiro the Hero with all your relocation needs. Good Greek Moving and Storage is the official movers of the Florida Gators, Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Bucks, Miami Heat, Miami Marlins, Florida International University, and the University of Miami. And thanks to Al Hendrickson Toyota for their support of this podcast. And be sure to visit alhendricksontoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Thanks to Goya for their support of today's episode. It's no wonder Goya's commitment to excellence is the cornerstone of the company credo. If it's Goya, it has to be good.